Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us today because we are tackling something that impacts literally every single one of us, yet, so few of us are ever formally taught how to actually do it right. We're going to talk about money, but we're not just going to talk about it. We're going to build a blueprint. I want you to think of your finances not as this confusing, stressful fog of numbers, but as a high-performance engine. When the parts of that engine aren't aligned, well, it sputters, it stalls, and it leaves you stranded in a cloud of money stress. But when you assemble those parts correctly, oh man, it runs powerfully, efficiently, and propels you exactly where you want to go in life. So today, we're stepping in as the mechanics for your financial engine. We're going to clear away that fog and replace it with ultimate clarity.
Okay, let's dive into this. How many times have you asked yourself, where does all my money actually go? Right? I mean, you work hard, you get paid, and then somehow, almost miraculously, the bank account is completely empty before the next paycheck even arrives. It's that classic, painful cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. If you have ever felt that tight knot in your stomach just checking your balance, I want to validate that for you right now. It is incredibly common and it's incredibly stressful. But here's the good news. That feeling, it isn't a permanent condition. It's really just a symptom of an engine that needs some tuning. It's a flashing indicator light that your money is currently directing you rather than you directing your money.
So, here is our clear, four-step architectural blueprint for today. First, setting smart financial goals. Second, the basics of budgeting. Third, 3 proven budgeting techniques. And finally, fourth, managing your cash flow.
All right, phase 1, setting smart financial goals, the vision for your money.
Listen, you cannot start picking up budgeting tools if you have absolutely no idea what you're trying to build. Without a clear vision, budgeting just feels like a punishment, right? Like pure restriction. But with a vision, budgeting becomes this vital stepping stone to getting exactly what you want out of life. And the absolute best way to build that vision is by using the SMART criteria. It's a framework that completely transforms vague wishes into concrete, actionable targets. Let's break the acronym down real quick. Specific. Don't just say, I kind of want to save money. Say, I want to save for a down payment on a house. Measurable. Attach a hard number to it. I want to save $50,000. Achievable. Is this actually realistic with your current income? Relevant. Does this goal really matter to your big picture? And time-bound. Put a firm deadline on it. I want to save $50,000 for a down payment in exactly 5 years. Suddenly, I want to be rich turns into a mathematical equation you can actually solve.
And this brilliantly illustrates how those SMART targets fit perfectly into the timeline of your life. You shouldn't just have one single goal. You really need a tiered approach here. Think about it. Your 1-year short-term goals might be building up an emergency fund or finally knocking out a specific credit card balance. Your 5-year medium-term goals, well, that could be the house down payment we just talked about, or maybe a major life event, like a wedding. And those 10-plus year long-term goals, that's the big stuff. That's retirement. That is true financial independence. By plotting your SMART goals across these distinct horizons, you're making sure that the financial engine you are building today is going to carry you all the way to your final destination.
Moving right along to step 2, the basics of budgeting, building the foundation. Okay, now that we have our macro vision clearly defined, let's zoom in on the everyday materials we'll use to construct this blueprint. At its very core, budgeting is simply the relationship between money in and money out and stored. Now I want you to look closely here. Your expenses are only one part of the equation. Notice how savings and investments aren't just tacked on as an afterthought, they are a primary, non-negotiable destination. The goal here isn't to restrict yourself, it's to consciously direct your capital to fund your vision. You are actively routing the money in to the exact right places in the money out and stored categories, specifically so those SMART goals we just mapped out actually get funded.
All right, phase 3, 3 proven budgeting techniques. This is your financial toolkit.
We all have entirely different money psychologies, so you've got to pick a technique that fits the way your brain works. Let's start with the sheer power of a single number, 0. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how zero-based budgeting frames everything. The rule is simple. Your income minus your expenses, savings, and investments must equal exactly 0. At the start of the month, you give every single dollar a specific job. If you earn $4,000, you actively assign all $4,000 to a category until there is literally nothing left to assign. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean you have $0 in the bank. It just means you have 0 unassigned dollars. This technique is an absolute game changer for people who crave total control and maximum visibility into every single cent they earn.
But hey, if tracking every penny on a spreadsheet makes your eyes glaze over, let's look at a much more tactile path, the envelope system. Step 1. You identify your basic budget categories: groceries, entertainment, gas. You know the drill. Step 2. You allocate physical cash into actual physical envelopes for each of those categories right at the start of the month. Step 3. When you go to the store, you pay with the cash from that specific envelope. And here is the absolute golden rule. When the envelope is empty, you stop spending in that category. Period. It's just a brilliant, straightforward method because, let's be real, human psychology makes it so much harder to hand over physical cash than it is to blindly swipe a piece of plastic. It creates these strict physical limits that perfectly contain your spending.
Now, our third tool in the kit is the 50-30-20 rule. This one is for the person who wants a simpler, much more automated approach. You're basically slicing your entire income pie into 3 distinct manageable pieces. 50% goes to your absolute needs: rent, utilities, basic groceries. 30% goes to your wants: dining out, hobbies, maybe vacations. And the final 20%? That is strictly dedicated to your future self, savings and investments. It's an incredibly effective rule of thumb because it ensures you're always progressing toward those long-term goals without, completely depriving yourself of enjoying life right now.
And finally, Section 4, managing your cash flow, keeping the engine running.
So, the crucial point is this. A beautifully built engine is completely useless if it runs out of oil. Having a pristine budget on paper doesn't magically align with the reality of when your bills actually hit your account. Cash flow management is entirely about timing. You might have enough money over the course of the whole month to pay your rent, but if your rent is due on the 1st and you don't get your paycheck until the 15th, well, your engine is going to stall out. Deploying strategies for cash flow, like staggering your bill due dates with your providers, keeping a small cash buffer in your checking account, or timing your discretionary spending around your specific pay cycles, ensures that the day-to-day timing of your money keeps everything running incredibly smoothly. It literally protects you from those awful overdraft fees, late penalties, and just so much unnecessary stress.
Wow, okay, we've covered some incredible ground today. We've gone from the raw anxiety of wondering where on earth your money goes to laying down a highly structured, actionable plan. You now know exactly how to set SMART goals across your life's timeline. You understand the fundamental flow of your money, and you have 3 wildly powerful techniques: zero-based, the envelope system, and the 50-30-20 rule to direct it. You also know that managing the day-to-day timing of your cash flow is what absolutely seals the deal. But listen to me, knowledge alone isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. So I want to leave you with this final vital question to think about. What is the very first step you will take today to build your financial blueprint? Seriously, what's it going to be? Will you write down just one SMART goal? Will you set up your very first cash envelope? Please don't wait for tomorrow. Take total control of your finances right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.